Hello everyone, January the 19th. Dreaming a new reality into manifestation. That is what is happening increasingly so, and I show you why I get to this. The big news in town is Pluto is entering Aquarius for the second of 3 times, but this is the major shift, and I explain you why in 2 days, on the 21st of January. Here, in sync with the Sun. Actually, the Sun ahead of Pluto will move into Aquarius somewhere 11 hours prior. Then Pluto moves in a tight conjunction with the Sun, so this will be the signature for the whole next 8 months or so into early September, when Pluto goes back once more into Capricorn for 11 weeks or so till November the 20th. The last dip. Pluto has been in Capricorn mainly for 15 years. So this is really a big shift, and as the Sun and Pluto simultaneously move into Aquarius, which is always a very, very special thing when that happens, when a planet and the Sun simultaneously. That means also from heliocentric perspective, Pluto is entering Aquarius, and that's a one-time event, as planets in heliocentric geometry always move forward. That is the thing about Earth's own motion that makes us see the celestial objects move a little bit forth and back every year because of Earth's own motion. It's like if you're driving on a highway, 2-lane highway, and you're slowing down and speeding up, and there's a car beside you. That car beside you, even though it moves always at the same speed, seems to go backwards and forward according to your perception. That is the whole thing about Earth's own motion. Anyway, this is big. This is a powerful shift from introvert into extrovert signs, from a basically feminine energy, which all the earth and water signs are, into a yang, male, outward oriented energy, which the air and the fire signs are. So this is a basic polarity shift, which will show in the way people express their power. So it has been kind of a time of inward motion, mostly the last 15 years, of getting to the bottom of things, understanding the workings of reality at its deepest layers. And now with the Aquarian energy coming in, we are applying what we learned and networking, getting out, aligning up with each other, falling in sync. It's the whole idea of synchronization, of generating a coherence field. Thinking of Lynn Taggart, one of the pioneers on that level of understanding how the collective frequency is at the bottom of everything. And in that context, I really would like to play you, show you a few things here first. So yes, let's go back a little bit. The last 2 weeks, probably you all experienced that too, were extremely difficult. We moved through some really challenging territory in preparation of what is coming, in preparation of that grand opening into a new direction, which this Pluto ingress really is. I mean, just before we go into what I want to show you, just a first quick assessment of this astrology we see here with the first degree Aquarius rising. You see there is this fixed cross, totally powered up. The fixed signs are bringing in a new stability, and the first degree of Scorpio, definitely this is intensity at its peak. This goes deep, this grinds into the depth of all beings, shifting everything around, prying it into a new direction. That's kind of what it is. Homia rising, there will be this square between Pluto and Homia for several years in these early degrees of the two signs. Homia, all about rejuvenation, revitalization, regeneration, renewal, rebirth, the emergence of something new, and the restructuring, a powerful, powerful little planet. So this adds on to Pluto's deep grinding shift of perception, of change, of reassembling in a new way. And Pluto naturally is the one which first takes down what is old, what is overdue, what needs to go, clearing the space. But let me play you a few things, show you a few things. First of all, it was interesting that even though the sun was not very active, you see there's not even one M-class flare over the last 7 days. It's kind of the sun was holding back a little bit. Yes, there was this one event on the 16th of January when actually Mercury and Venus got hit by a major blast here from the sun. I did do a screenshot of this showing you. This was when the wave exactly hit Mercury. Mercury is the one which is yellow here, this guy here. So that was on the 16th of January, awakening Mercury. It's all about that, opening our awareness. Whenever Mercury is powered up, we are able to perceive a deeper layer of reality. This is what it's all about. It's all about love, making someone else's existence a little easier. Nothing else matters. I know this now. This was Terence McKenna's last words interview. Very meaningful. I found also Matt Kahn's contribution extremely helpful. He's a great teacher. I want to play you a couple minutes of this here.
For the awakening beings on this planet, for the spirit guides in training, the archangels in training, the ones who know themselves as light, whether their experience of light is as consistent as they expect it to be, whether they act the way they think they're supposed to be. The spiritual awakening beings on this planet will be undergoing a quickening. A quickening means a faster acceleration into realities of a higher timeline. This timeline, that's called the unity timeline, is a new timeline opening up in the quantum field. And it's being made possible because so many of us awakening beings over the last 5 to 7 years have gone through so much purging, so much clearing, so much healing. So many of us have been feeling like we're working around the clock in endless dark night of the soul scenarios, constantly questioning why we seem to have to clear not only for ourselves but the world. But for 5 to 7 years, a lot of us have been in the trenches. And I've been with you there every step of the way, as I will always do. And we've been doing this grand purging on so many levels to open up space, to clear karmic patterns, which of course a lot of you experienced so miraculously when we did the karma clearing on the recent tour. But we've cleared space, and we've cleared out so much density, so much distortion, to create space for more of your soul to now move into form.
I do like that. Create space for more of our soul to move in. Now, it's all about frequency. I want to get back to that theme too. It's all about the frequency we generate, very Aquarian energy. This is again tying into this idea. This actually, it's a factual thing that everything resonates in this universe, and cymatics is probably the science which is getting to the bottom of that. So it was actually a whole bunch of great scientists going back to Da Vinci, Galileo Galilei, Robert Hooke, and then there's Ernst Chladni, who really is called the father of acoustics, who coined the term cymatics, which is all about how frequency is changing the patterns in reality. And there is this little clip which I wanted to play you a couple of minutes to show you, if you're new to this, how frequency changes the structure of everything. Sand on a plate of metal is used here, and it's a different frequencies applied. Let me just play you this, then you get the idea.
The next person to explore this field was a gentleman called Hans Jenny in the 1970s, and he actually coined the term cymatics. And then bringing us into the present day is a fellow collaborator of mine and cymatics expert, John Stuart Reid, and he's kindly recreated for us the Chladni experiment. What we can see here is a metal sheet, this time connected to a sound driver and being fed by a frequency generator. And as the frequencies increase, so do the complexities of the patterns that appear on the plate, as you can see for your own eyes. So,
yes, you get the picture where I'm going to. This is all about frequency. That will become the main theme, and the more people realize that we, with our frequency, and if we expand our energy in the right direction, then we are helping the collective field to become more powerful. And actually this is the biggest conspiracy which we have been told, that we are powerless, that we are meant to just be little cogs, little wheels in the system, that we have no real say, no real influence. That's not true. That is now really changing, and you can see it in whatever is happening in the bigger world. I just wanted to show you a couple things. You might have heard of the big revolution starting in Germany, in Poland, where the truckers and actually it's the farmers who started it. Now the truckers join, the train drivers join, and it is like a wave rolling all over Europe, and soon it will come here too, to North America. It is starting. I found this super interesting too, that Yuval Harari, who probably know who he is, the outspoken guy who tells us all about AI and how this will change the world. he was asked about Trump, and he said, well, I think it's very likely that he will be elected, and if it happens, it likely will be the death blow to what remains of the global order. I really liked that. It really shows that they are starting to see they're not getting what they want. This is another really encouraging news snippet that the majority of Americans now think that the whatever are linked to unexplained deaths. That's a big one. People are waking up in rocket speed, and this is the chart of what is going on. Actually, I want to show you also this, which is really making sense in the Mayan calendar. We are coming out of the 13 days of cogs, which started here on the 7th of January. Yes, it was a stormy period. We are today on the 13th day. And as of tomorrow, we're entering the heart of the human, which is really resonating with that frequency of truly embracing our humanity, honoring all the different emotions and different moods we are pushed through. And yes, we are. This is still a roller coaster, as I showed you in my earlier recordings, likely lasting into the early days of July. Then I think it will be cooling down, in that sense coming to a bigger resolution. Everybody sees it, gets clear where we're going. Will get very clear. So this is really the tail end, and it is a compression zone we're in really collectively. That is what we have been feeling, and this compression definitely will have its first breakthrough around the 20th, 21st of January. And I'm showing you the bigger picture here. So let's just roll it back a little bit to the 20th of January. That is when the Sun and Pluto will be exactly conjunct at 29:59 in Capricorn. So that is kind of the last, I would say, realization of what we are coming out of. It is really just before we are pushed into the light of something completely new. It's that last minute assessment, and guess what? It is a powerful chart, as you could expect. The moon conjunct Sedna is indicating, yes, it takes us deep down through into the rabbit holes, into the darkness of all what has been going on. Sedna is kind of that vault which is opened, which brings back all that hidden knowledge, all that hidden information, and in that sense naturally also linking to all the trauma which we have been suffering on this planet for the past many thousands of years. It's an 11,000-year orbit Sedna comes out of, and Sedna rules the deep sea, in that sense, which is an allegory also of deep space, of all which is coming from alien worlds. So interesting though is that the moon is not void, of course, yet here. You see 59, 53, so it's still heading towards the trine with the Sun and Pluto. And that is great news. That means it's a very clear assessment of what we are coming out of, which we have here in front of us. A perfect harmony between Sun and Moon, so there is that unity which Matt Kahn speaks about here already, very clearly shown, that unity of intent, of streamlining our energies, of understanding what's really going on. It's now really in the stage of the avalanche building. It's no more just snowballing. This is really an avalanche now coming down This is the intensity we are in. And then a few minutes later, you see, at 1:45 a.m. and p.m., that is on tomorrow, Saturday, in Greenwich time, Universal time. A few minutes later, at 2:07, 20 minutes or so later, the sun enters Aquarius. And beautiful, the moon meanwhile 005 in Gemini. This is really setting the stage for Pluto to be received 11 hours later then into the sign of Aquarius. A real energy shift this is. So yes, if you can take time to sit, tune into that collective space and connect with your heart, feel how you're anchoring that loving presence, which is the essence of what is. I also like to connect it to the sacred geometry, which is the background structure of the quantum vacuum. This is all energies we are meant to anchor in this reality. We are part of nature. If we tune into our physical body, the heart is an enormous, powerfully generator, enormously powerful. So that's all there is needed. It is that attunement, and then we are helping that quickening to even accelerate beyond what it is at this point. So let's now, one more thing I wanted to quickly say is the Sun-Pluto conjunction. I mentioned that already in my last recording, I guess, where I spoke about the synchronicity when the nodes changed into shock and thunder. On the 8th of January, we had exactly the same geometry, the same suspension into the cosmic energy fields. That is what the vertical axis is, which is the plumb line. It is which roots us into the ground, and where we are aligning us with the forces of levitation and gravitation. You could call this power line of centering. And then we have the ascendant and the ascendant and the descendant, which are the two arms stretched out, where we really touch down on Earth, on this dimension, and act on that power which we are tuned into and generating from above and below. So it is that same energy. The nodes were conceived in this new frequency band, which lasts into May 11. A major time of breakthrough, of realization of what's going on. That's why it totally fits that symbol of shock and thunder. That is what is experienced, and we got already plenty of that in these last 12 days. Then it was the black moon, the shadow energy, the collective shadow, the moon where it is farthest from Earth, that deepest trench in the ocean. Whenever that is activated, it means we are meant to embrace that shadow in a new way. That entered a new hexagram on the 13th of January. Another big shift with the exact same geometry. Go back to my earlier recording. The moon's, the black moon in that hexagram 64, which is before completion, is facing the chaos before everything is starting to assemble itself in a new way, in a harmonious way. That it is really that phase of taking everything apart, that very Plutonian energy, as I mentioned before, of really bringing in the demolition crew and taking everything down. That is going on for the next roughly 6 weeks. Started January the 13th. Every 9 days or so, 1 degree of motion for the black moon, that place where the moon is farthest from Earth. So this all fits into what we are experiencing. Yes, it's a difficult time. It's important to have a perspective. That's what astrology brings in, to see beyond what we really can see, because we are sitting at the treetop. We are able to look far into the structures of the time-space continuum. That's kind of what it is. And yes, we are dreaming a new reality into existence. That is what is actively going on. We are becoming aware of our real inborn, innate powers of generation, of frequencies, of creation, of new realities. And naturally, those of us who have been on this train for a long time, we are the ones who are helping many others to jump onto that train and to get into their powers too. It is that importance of closing shoulders, coming together, very Aquarian. So let me show you a few more charts here. I won't spend too much time on them because I don't want to have the recording to go for too long. First of all, in 2 days, when Pluto enters Aquarius, I just want to point out a few really powerful alignments. First of all is Venus exactly at the galactic center. Within less than an hour, you see 0:56, and when Venus is at the galactic center, most exactly 1:51, so that's 55 minutes later, still with Scorpio rising, and again the 26th degree of Leo here, which I pointed out in my head on into 24 recording, which I suggest, if you haven't listened to it, go back to it. This really gives you the bigger picture of where we're going. So anyway, this tunes totally into that, and actually the 26th degree of Leo, just saying that once more, in the Sabian symbols, is the rainbow after the storm. So Venus really reminds us that yes, even though the storm is still fiercely going on, the rainbow is already waiting for us. It is a promise, a great promise, as all rainbows are. So let's quickly go back there, because there's really much more I want to point out here. So on the 17th, just a couple days ago, there was the exact conjunction of Saturn, Hygeia, and Gong Gong, which is that theme of knocking one's head banging, why do I not see what I have to see, and then sudden realization, a breakthrough. It is a painful revelation, which is that what here is at the core of it. And you see the part of fortune is right here, and it is all about health, well-being, and what we have been going through collectively the last 3-4 years. This is the big revelation, that we have been tricked into whatever we have been undergoing on so many levels. This is just one side of the coin, that whole health and wellness theme. There is the financial one, there is you name it, it's on all levels. And that health scare we all went through, which now becomes really clear where it came from, is just the initiator to break open all these other doors and realizations of, oh, this has been true too, then this has been happening too. So it is really that really painful at first realization of where we're having to take account of what has been happening. Interesting that this ties in with the Pluto and Charon's direct motion. Go back to that recording too. That is super important, as it shows how Pluto and Charon, its big moon, they didn't change direction and don't change direction each time when they do simultaneously. That is sometimes more than 12 hours different, which is substantial for astrology, as we are going by the minute, by the exact timing of things, as the ascendant changes every 4 minutes, as you know. So this is super important. That was my discovery, that it is the space-time midpoint of these two agents of change. And Pluto and Chiron are really a planetary system, you could call. They work together. These are two different forces, and then that brings that really shows the complexity of Pluto, and also its extreme importance as a planetary system, I should say. That's really what we should call them. So anyway, the long story short, the power axis of that moment when Pluto and Charon together as a team gained traction in forward motion back on October 10, which leads us all the way into early May, has been in that axis of 6 degrees and 16 minutes of Virgo, and the same degree in Pisces. That is exactly that axis of Saturn and Hygeia and Gong Gong, that super important addition. All these Kuiper belt objects, they make a big difference. They really are mirroring the coming to awake, realize our powers we truly have. These, I would really say as a general statement, Kuiper belt objects are the realization of what we are truly able to do with our energies. It's kind of, there's independent observers, they're non-resonant with inner planets, so they have that higher authority of understanding from a greater distance of what's truly going on. In that sense, if we anchor on that level farther away, we have a much calmer and stronger position. We are farther away from what is really playing out. That's why these new planets are so important, Gong Gong being one of them, Haumea being another one of them. Actually, these are the two which are related to dragon energy, and as we're entering the dragon year, you can expect these two to be even more important. And on top of that, I mean, I could go on for hours about Gong Gong, but what is really also to be taken in account is that this is the degree of the nodes of this planet. That means that's where it is rising through the ecliptic upwards, and at 7 degrees Virgo, it is cutting down through the ecliptic again, and 2007 OR10, which was its original this designation, has a 550-year orbit, so it is really one of those who are really bringing in a new dimension. Okay, let me keep going. So yeah, it's already okay, because I have limited time here too, so that's actually a good thing. So Venus, then TX300 changes direction. Okay, that is within hours. You see, this was when we look at the moon, we see the change of motion. The moon was here at 6 degrees Gemini when Pluto enters Aquarius. This is the heliocentric picture, which I thought I just wanted to show you for one single reason. Mercury and Venus actually have their conjunction at 6 degrees Scorpio, heliocentrically. I guess it is today. And yeah, there's many things going on here. Anyway, I want to rush a little bit through the charts here because there's so many more. So then TX300, okay, the moon meanwhile at 11 degrees here. 11, you remember, is the degree which we have seen before here too. 1128, you see, in Leo. So this is all locking in. So 11 Taurus, 11 Gemini. Now, what is TX300? You might ask. Okay, TX300 is here, right at the ascendant. That is another really interesting one. Started getting my attention during the truckers convoy in the early 2022s. Was super highlighted. Then it is something loud, big, something which cannot be overlooked. An energy which demands to be taken in account, and Jupiter is teaming up with it. This is the moment it turns direct. That means for the last few months it was moving backwards, and this is its resuming forward motion, outward expression, and yes, pretty much exactly at the ascendant right now, backing up Pluto. It is it can't be much better than that, and Jupiter will join this degree within the next few weeks. You can look that up in the well, as I have it here, let me just tell you, I'm curious myself. I can't hold back on doing these additional things. So yes, it will be early March. It is at 11:18. So pretty much starting March, you can expect everything to amp up a few levels. Okay, then on the 27th, and I will stop right here. This is the last chart I'm showing you, but okay, on the 27th, Uranus is turning forward again after many months of moving backwards. And guess what? Who is at the ascendant in this global chart, fractal chart for the whole planet? Pluto. In the 0 degree of Aquarius. How about that? Well, I will get back to this chart, and I say call it a day for now. Thanks for joining and listening. It's such an exciting time we are in, and hold the ground, be in your heart energy, take time every day at least for 20 minutes to tune into this loving presence, anchor it in your physical form, bring it into this dimension. That's what we have come here for to do, to really help anchoring this wonderful energy which is awaiting us at the end of this storm, this beautiful rainbow. Think of it and envision it, pull it in. It will come, there's no question, and we will get through this difficult period collectively together, helping each other, holding each other's hands. Thanks for being here, thanks for the support, and give it a like, share it, whatever you feel like doing, it's appreciated. Love you all. Bye bye.